Thank you, Anil Bhai. Just a small correction. I used to be the convener. I am no longer convener for Intac. I am now just an advisor.
Okay.
Having said that, I have a very kind of a layperson's view of, and not a policymaker or a planner's view of World Heritage City. So I will just make that disclaimer before I start what I have to say. I'm a resident of the city. I was born in the city, and the places that I've restored, particularly the house of MG, was an ancestral house. So I'm actually a stakeholder. Uh, so my connection with the city is slightly different, perhaps from some of the other participants. Therefore, I would say I am like a person who wishes to be impacted by this nomination as World Heritage City. I have hopes that I would be impacted by it in a positive manner. In the last, because I started the restoration much before the city became a World Heritage City, and I've been putting in my own funds in this process for the last 25 years. So it was only 8 years ago that Ahmedabad became a World Heritage City in 2017, whereas we started our project in 1995. Um, Through 95 till 2017, we had already completed the restoration of all our buildings. So the fact that it became a World Heritage City or that it might become a World Heritage City had no bearing on the fact that we were restoring these buildings. We were restoring them regardless. And we were restoring them because there was a certain connection to the old city, especially with the ancestral home. And the entire motivation was, of course, the connection plus entrepreneurship. So we want our role, or my role was as an entrepreneur. I saw potential in the location of this ancestral building, which is very close to the riverfront. And what I want to just bring into this conversation is my point of view. Of course, the journey has been extremely rewarding and at the same time extremely frustrating. It could have happened in half the time had we got tailwinds instead of headwinds, which is something that we continue to face today. After 2017, so I would like to say that the municipal corporation, the government of Gujarat have always been very good in their intent. Their intentions are very good. I think everything they want to do is very positive. Uh, for reasons that the way our democracy functions, the actual application of it is where the challenges are. And even for this, because we have 2.5 decades of experience in how the city works and what make people really go for something or spend time on something, is finally it's the money that makes the world go round. So unless the people of the World Heritage City, the stakeholders of the World Heritage City, the people who actually live in the World Heritage City, for them, all these academic things don't matter. They don't really matter at all. What they are concerned with it is what will it do for me. And this is not clear. What it will do for them just now, it is almost as if it's going to restrict them rather than help them. So any policy which restricts a stakeholder from doing or having the freedom to do what they want with their asset is considered as a negative. It's not a positive at all. And unfortunately, the government has not been able to wipe this off yet, in spite of very positive intentions to do so. Specifically, the only policy which it has announced which will benefit the stakeholders is the transfer of development rights, which they've announced. But again, intent is good, but in action, it's so complicated. Instead of just simply announcing it on area of the surveyed land, which is on the books of the government, they announced it on built up area. So they have to go and do measurement of every building to count built up area, which makes absolutely no sense, because the real commercial value of a building or any land actually is on the area of the land and allowable FSI on the land. This may be technical for all our listeners, but this is a fairly technical a webinar, so I assume they understand what is FSI and what is transfer of development rights, etc. Now, okay, so all these are challenges. What can we do? We have two extremely workable solutions that we have proposed, besides many MOUs that I signed as an intact head, with 3 MOUs I signed with the various municipal municipal commissioners, which never saw light of day for whatever reason. But we have now proposed to the urban development and the municipal commissioner, the ex-municipal commissioner, now already ex because he was there only for 2 years, two very, very positive proposals. Specifically, I am now for the first time in 7 years seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, and that light is the perspective of getting the Olympics in 2036. So whatever I'm saying is, with this light at the end of the tunnel, which we have been going through for 25 years, which is the perspective of an Olympic event in Ahmedabad in 2036. What can we do to prepare for it? Are the people from all around the world the focus of the television channels and millions of people who will be watching the games? Will it be on the bullet train? Will it be on the riverfronts? Will it be on how modern the city is becoming? No, it will be on the heritage and culture of the city and how well the heritage and culture of the city is being demonstrated or put out. This cannot be with putting up some stage and doing some cultural program as we tend to do. It has to be actually by showing the life in the old city and the development of the old city. So what we have proposed is that why don't we make the World Heritage City, which is contained in the core area of Ahmedabad, a tourism special economic zone for tourism. You know, this special economic zone is a tool used by the government to develop underdeveloped areas. I would call the old city an underdeveloped area. So if we were to announce it and make it a special economic zone, and with several very interesting benefits that we put into this paper, and which has been discussed amongst, I would say, old families and of Ahmedabad who have stakes in the old city. And we've created this paper, which we actually presented to the urban development secretary as well as the ex-municipal commissioner, which says that in announcing various benefits to tourism-related occupations, whether it be craft, whether it be art galleries, homestays, restaurants, cafes, etc., these should be given special tax SOPs, which would attract them to start these. There are already quite a few, but more could come in. And number two, we have a specified listed number of heritage structures, which they need to be saved, but there is no incentive to save them. So why not give them a really high TDR? We said give them 5 TDR, don't give them half TDR. Give them 5 times the TDR, but connect it to performance. So we have suggested that, okay, you give 5 TDR to the heritage owner, so which makes the property really valuable for who? The specified businesses for tourism. So why would they want to come here? Because they get all the SOPs. That's why most special economic zones, that's how they work. And number two, they have a major incentive in restoring the property. Why? Because they would get the TDR released only on showing a chartered accountant certificate. Maybe not 100% spent on restoration, maybe 70%, and 30% is extra as a bonus to keep this. This would give them adequate incentive. And one thing which nobody seems to be realizing in the government is that most of the stakeholders are living in homes which are 6th generation, 7th generation. Can you imagine the number of owners of such a building? No policy has addressed this issue, that if you have 6th or 7th generation members living or owning a house, how is that house ever going to be restored and by who? So this issue can be resolved with the proposal that we have. Why? Because as soon as the house, which has no value just now, becomes a very valuable asset, then there will be incentive for the stakeholders, however many there may be, that okay, now they're going to get money for it, serious money for it. So they would come together and resolve their issues and everybody would be paid out. And that has a much better chance of resolving this socio-economic problem, which unfortunately no policy addresses. The World Heritage City guidelines, they don't have any address. They don't address practical issues on the ground, how you will do what you propose to do, So this is our proposal to make it a special economic zone. In the same breath, I would like to talk briefly about the second proposal, which is that Ahmedabad as a whole has many fantastic heritage structures even outside this core zone, and including major and amazing institutions, educational institutions and other kind of research institutions. And all these places are slowly getting encroached on and they are under threat. They don't have funds. Low-rise buildings are being destroyed. The community, that neighborhoods are going. How to save these neighborhoods? You're not only trying to save the old city, you're trying to save the whole city. And you're trying to save neighborhood and create a low-rise city, not only given to high-rise buildings. How do you do that? So again, we are proposing that come up with a green policy, which is towards giving TDR, again the same tool, to buildings which have, or properties which are there, which have not utilized their FSI. Why are you not allowing them to sell their FSI, unutilized FSI? This will allow them to create funds which they are never going to sell their property anyways, those who don't want to, and those who want to, some of the members of the family want to, then they can encash and they can give them the pay money for the unutilized FSI, and those who want to retain the buildings, they can keep the buildings. So both these policies are in fair detail, looking at every angle, looking at how to market the TDR and etc. And we really hope that the committee which is sitting to plan for the Olympics, not only for the World Heritage City Trust, but the Olympics, takes it under its purview, prioritizes green Ahmedabad, low-rise Ahmedabad communities and heritage, as well as the World Heritage City, by giving these incentives. If they start now, and of course, government, AMC will have to play its own role in public amenities and roads and garbage disposal, whatnot. But private individuals will be, usually they'll get a supercharge by this kind of a policy which puts money in their pocket. It puts money in their pocket. There is no better incentive than getting money in your pocket if you want to save anything or do anything. And I think this is where the government needs to focus. This is where, and all the policy and everything else is fine. Let the experts take care of it. But how will you get the stakeholders on your side? This is the most important, and we need to look at that. I'm sure Rajiv will add to it, because just now to do anything in the old city, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. And getting people together, because there are so many owners of all the old buildings, is impossible. So at the end of it, after 7 years, with much persuasion, again, I had to convince 400 members of my family to get this house. But how? I paid them. They immediately agreed because it was a hot potato. So all the old buildings in the old city are hot potatoes for their owners. As soon as somebody gets ready to pay them, and that person will be somebody who wants to do a business there, who wants to encash on the TDR, whoever it may be. As soon as that person has a potential to get a return on his investment, which he can, if it's a special economic zone with TDR, then things will start happening. Otherwise, whether it's in Jaipur or Varanasi or Mumbai or Ahmedabad, the same problem will happen. You have to look at the socio-economic aspect in a place like India or anywhere else and supercharge it through this fantastic tool called TDR and overcome issues with that. So that is my real call on this. And I think that's the only way to go. And we have a 12-year window before the Olympics, 11-year window. It is enough time for Ahmedabad, old city, to transform if this policy is implemented, and enough time for the government to, iron the wrinkles that they may come across. And they will have the citizens on their side. Just now, they put these emblems on the marked buildings and nobody wants that emblem on their building because it will mean that they can't do anything to it, So there is all kinds of things happening, corruption, and the people are letting their building fall down, etc. All this needs to be cleared first before we start talking about policy and what can be done and what cannot be done and what is World Heritage City. Nobody cares. They need money in their pocket. This is the stakeholders' view. Okay, thank you.